So, as I have said many times in the last week, I've gotten a new generator. It's a dual fuel generator, 2500 watts, Champion inverter generator. I really like it, and I've only used it for about 2 hours. I haven't even ran it for the full break-in period of 5 hours. And I've thought about starting it up for you, but really there's nothing exciting about it. It runs like a generator, except it has a hose into a propane tank, which I did show you that in the previous video. So there's just nothing to it. And I'm not going to run it until the old generator has died. I've drained out the gas. It's got some oil in it. If there's something wrong with the old generator, it needs maintenance or something, then I can use the new generator, hook it up to propane. And it's so much quicker. For those quick startups and shutdowns, propane would be a lot easier. Just hook the hose up instead of filling up the gas and then running it for 10-20 minutes and then draining all the gas, making sure the carburetor doesn't have any gas in it. Just hook it up to propane and you don't have to worry about all that maintenance. Just disconnect propane and put it away. So I kind of like that idea. So I've been trying to really figure out my propane cost, my gas cost, all that. Gas cost has gone up. So last week I told you I went to the gas station and paid $3.79 for gas. Well, yesterday when we went back to town and they hadn't changed the price. This is even after we stopped buying oil from Russia. The gas price still hasn't went up, so it's $3.79 yesterday. I don't know if I'm lucky or if it just hasn't caught up with us or what the deal is, but everybody's went up to over $4 except us. Don't get me wrong, I'm really happy about that. So all our tanks are filled. We filled last week, we filled all our tanks, gas cans, got the lawnmower filled up, generator, and then I went out and got gas. I called around the other day. I told you I called around to check on propane cost. We right now go to Dollar General and it's $20 to exchange a tank. It's just not very cheap. When you do it that way, it's like $5 or something per gallon. A can like this, you get 4 to 4.5 gallons of propane. That's about $5 per gallon. It's pretty expensive. So I called around to see if I could find refill places, because refill places are usually a lot cheaper. You take it in to the station and they hook it up to a hose in a machine and they fill it up. If you've done any nomadic lifestyle, I'm sure you've experienced that. And that's how we primarily filled it when we were nomads. We didn't do exchanges. It's just too expensive. But since we moved here, there's just not any propane fill stations around. Now, when you're a nomad, it's not so bad. When you move to your next location, you just go to a fill station on your way, fill it up, and continue on your trip. But here, we have to make a special trip. So I called the town that we go to regularly. I say regularly, once a month or so, where we go grocery shopping. And they wanted $20 to fill the tank. So they're no cheaper than Dollar General Exchange. Well, that's not good. But when you look up propane cost, there's no way it's $5 a gallon. It varies depending on where you're at. Somewhere around $2.50 to $3 right now. So we're spending $2 at the high end. We're spending $2 more per gallon on the exchange and the place we go grocery shopping. Now there's another town down the road, the other direction, way out of the way from where we go shopping at, that had it for $14 per fill. So that's getting a little bit more reasonable. The problem is driving out there with gas prices so high, there's no cost savings. I've done all the math. It really isn't worth it, considering you're running up the miles on the truck and it just wasn't worth it. So I've been really trying to scratch my head, because what's going to happen, eventually I think gas prices are going to exceed propane cost. So I've been doing a lot of research on propane. How it's made, how it's stored, all this stuff. Like natural gas and oil and regular gas, it's supply and demand is what it is. If there's a huge demand on natural gas, like wintertime, but they can't get it out of the ground fast enough to get it to your house, the price goes up. Same thing with gas and oil. It's simple economics. It really was taught in high school. 10th or 11th grade, I learned that. But with propane is a waste product of natural gas and oil, gasoline. They literally make propane by making gas and oil. Well, not that many people use propane. People out in the country, the tanks, just not a lot of people use it. So what they do is they store it. And as a matter of fact, they store it in salt mines. I had no idea. So they got these huge tanks sitting in salt mines. I don't know why they put them in salt mines, but that's where they put them. I guess to keep moisture out. I don't know. And so when demand is high, they just pull these tanks out of the salt mines and they start distributing it out to everybody. And then over the summer, when nobody's using propane, they store it back up. So the supply and demand doesn't affect propane costs quite as much. So really the only thing you got is manufacturing costs, trucking costs. That was the big cost on propane, is trucking costs. So as prices go up for trucks, when they come out to deliver to you, they're going to charge you more money to deliver because gas prices are up. As far as going to Tractor Supply store or something like that to get your tanks filled, the prices don't vary too much. As a matter of fact, what I read was they only change the price of propane maybe twice a year, usually once a year. Right before winter, they'll raise the price of propane, and then it stays the same price all year long. I thought last summer everybody was talking about propane costs going through the roof because there wasn't as much, and all kinds of crud. And all of it, now that I've done my thorough research, I've found that's just not true. Propane is probably the most price stable commodity fuel there is. If it stays $14 at this location, I would like to go get it because it's a lot cheaper than the exchange, and it's a lot cheaper getting refilled at the town we go grocery shopping at. But again, it's going to run up my gas costs, so it's just not cost effective. So I started thinking, what can I do? One of the things I considered is buying a 100-gallon tank. It's $132 at Walmart. That was the cheapest one I could find. So I almost bought it. And so what I was going to do is buy an assembly, some hoses and fittings, and I was going to fill the 20-pound tanks from the 100-pound tank. So I would take the 100-pound tank to the $14 station there in the town that's so far away and get it filled up. And then when one of these tanks ran empty, I could just fill it up from that. And there's a whole process to it. There's a lot of YouTube videos. A lot of people fill up those 1-pound cylinders, those little bitty ones. A lot of people fill those up. Not sure why, when you can just buy a hose and use one of these. But regardless, I was trying to figure out how to do it with the big tank to one of these tanks. So we got to investigating and figuring, okay, do we want to do this? Well, Carolyn's big concern is I'm not getting any younger. And she thought, in 5 years, are you going to be able to get that tank out of the truck? Of course, I said, yeah, I can do it. I can do it. But it was a valid point. So I started thinking about this. These tanks at Dollar General, if I don't exchange it, if I go to Dollar General and say I need a tank of propane, it's $40. So $20 for the propane and $20 for the tank. Well, if you take that times 5, that's $100. So 5 of these tanks equals a 100-pound tank. 20-pound tank here and a 100-pound tank. So 5 of these, 20 pounds equals one of those. So it's actually $32 cheaper to get 5 of these tanks than it is to get one 100-pound tank from Walmart. Plus I'd had the shipping costs from Walmart and all that. I don't know, maybe it was free shipping, but regardless, I'm thinking, well, why not just get more of these? So right now I have 5 of these tanks. So then when we have 5 empty tanks, that still leaves us 5 full tanks because we'd have a total of 10 tanks. We take the 5 tanks into that town that we never go to and get the 5 filled. So it'd be like filling one 100-pound tank. And now the reason we don't just hook all our appliances up to a 100-pound tank is, I explained this in a previous video, I would have to run plumbing all through the house, and I just don't want to do all that. It would end up costing us more money in the long run running all the plumbing. So we can continue to do what we're doing now and just hook the 20-pound tank up to the Coleman stove and to the on-demand water heater and to the generator and to the other Coleman stove. We have 2 Coleman stoves and a buddy heater. So I'm feeling a lot better about this. That way, when gas prices go through the roof, if they go through the roof here, before I was thinking gas prices were going to have to hit $6.50 to make the Dollar General exchange cheaper than gasoline, which we may not be too far away from actually achieving. Some people are paying that already. If I take it over there where I can get it refilled for $14, that takes the gas price to $4.50. So if gas prices exceed $4.50, then it would make more sense to run the generator off propane. Well, the other thing I wanted to explain while we're here talking about propane tanks is, how do you know if these tanks are full? Some people may rip you off if you're not watching them fill it up, or you don't understand what they're doing when they're filling it up. It's a real simple calculation. The tank, when it's empty, has a tare weight. Now, you're probably not going to be able to see this on the camera, but right here it says TW, tare weight, 18. Every one of these cans has to have that number on there. Yours may be different. It could be 19 or 17. But whatever it is, that's how heavy the canister is, the cylinder is, empty. So then when you get your cylinder, you put it on a scale. Let's say it weighs 33.5 pounds, whatever it is. Well, you subtract 33.5 pounds minus the 18 pounds, and that's how much propane you have. So that would be about what, 15.5 pounds? Well, you know that this tank is a 20-pound tank. So that means that if they filled it and you only got 15 pounds, you take that by 4.25. 4.25 is how much 1 gallon of propane weighs. If your tank weighs 15 pounds divided by 4.25, that's roughly 3.5 gallons somewhere. I'm doing math in my head, so it's not exact. So you know that they didn't fill this. This can hold almost 4.5 gallons of propane. But if they're only filling it to 3.5 gallons, then you know you're getting ripped off. So they're charging you $14 for 3.5 gallons versus $14 for 4.5 gallons. And trust me, they do that. As a matter of fact, Dollar General used to do that. I think they've changed the law, but Dollar General used to sell these tanks at 3.5 gallons for $20 when everybody else was selling refills. You know, they'd fill it up for you, and you're paying $11 or $12. So you were actually paying more for less gas in the tank. The other thing is if you didn't know how much you had left in your tank, that's an easy way to do it too. So if you'll check out this up next box, that'll take you to my other channel. I'd appreciate it if you check that out. So I hope I can inspire you to do your homework so you can live your dream. Thanks for watching.